What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm actually going to be holding this watch in my hand the entire review because I just like the feel of it so much, and it's really exceptionally built, and we'll get to all of that towards the middle of the review. But first I just want to give you an overview of exactly how this thing is made. So of course this is the Martian smartwatch, and I gave you a little overview of it during the unboxing, but really I didn't go much in depth into it. So the key features you will find on this thing is of course being notified every single time that you get an incoming text or email, or even if it's like a calendar or social media event that you set on your phone, whether it's a Samsung Galaxy S4 or in this case S5, LG G2, it could be any phone that supports Bluetooth. Then of course you can also see who's calling or texting based on the OLED display right there, so their name will appear right there. And if it's a text, a little portion of the text, I believe it's like 100 characters, will also appear right there. So that's very, very handy and will allow you to tell whether you want to reply to the text or not. There's also a speech-to-text option which you can fix up inside of the application, not this application, the application that you find on your device. Yes, you can go ahead and type in Martian smartwatch application and you should be able to find it, and it is basically required for you to change up any of the settings on here. Then of course you can actually tell this thing what to do. So say your device supports Siri or Google Now, then yes, you can control that directly from here, and I will go more into that in a little bit. Finally, you can place or answer calls. So yes, you can use one of these buttons to just answer the call or reject the call depending on what mood you're in at that time. Finally, there is a few awesome other extra features that I'll go into as I turn the thing on. But first off, let's go over build quality, since this smartwatch is more or less made for looks and not features. Since if you're obsessed with features or specs or something like that, then you should probably go with, say, something like the Pebble and not this. But if you want something that looks extremely premium and comes at a relatively good price for a very, very premium watch, then this is most definitely it. So right off the bat, you can see that this is made out of a nice leather, which nice etchings that make it look very premium. On the back is this comfortable type of feeling, so I've used this for, I don't know, 1 day straight, and no pressure has been put onto my wrists. It still felt nice and great afterwards. No markings, nothing like that, like you get with some other watches. Same leather over here. We have one of these, another one of these. This one you actually can't move. And finally, just like a typical watch, the ending. So yes, let's go ahead and see how that looks. So technically speaking, that's how it would look. So now let's talk about the screen. So right here, as you can see, this is actually a clock. Now the interesting feature about that is that this and this run on a separate battery. This part right here you actually charge via micro USB. The charging cable actually comes inside of the box. Then of course this you cannot charge. After about 2 to 3 years you have to go ahead and change the battery, but that's with all watches. Then this button right here is useless for this thing, but very useful for this. This is legitimately how you change the time. You pull this little knob up, twist it, and the time knobs will go forward or backward depending on what you wish. On the side are our main buttons. So these are, you need to learn these two things very, very well. It took me a little bit of time to pick up, but after a while I did figure out exactly how they work. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on. In order to turn it on, you basically press both the buttons simultaneously. The thing will vibrate, I don't know if you heard that, and it will say Martian right there. And after that, you can go ahead and control it. In order to connect to Bluetooth, you basically hold down the top button for quite a few seconds. And I'm not going to connect at this time, but let's go ahead and check out some of the features. So the first thing you get is, of course, volume, and that is the Bluetooth button. So right now it's not connected, as you can see. Alright, back to this. You get your little overview, how much battery is left, what the volume is at. Next off, we have controls for volumes. Alright, so now we're going to talk about those cool features that I mentioned before. This is camera mode, so basically if you press the up button right here, connect it to your device, yes, you can use this to take a picture. Now an example of that would be, say you're taking a group picture and you want to set it on self-timer, but iOS doesn't allow you to do that, so instead you put the camera somewhere else, you get into your little group picture, press the little wrist button, and voila, your phone takes a picture. How awesome is that? The next feature we'll be talking about is the LED function. Basically, the LED blinks whenever the battery goes low. It will blink red. When it blinks like orange or green, it means you get a notification, and the LED is fairly important, and once you start using this watch, you will see how important that is, but it's kind of tough to explain unless you actually have it. Then this feature is really useful, so basically Find a Phone, it kind of works both ways. You can actually go into the application on your phone and try to look for your smartwatch. If you click the Find button, this thing will start vibrating and ringing at the same time. Then, of course, if you click Find Phone on here, it will automatically send a little signal out to your phone, and your phone will ring, so that's fairly interesting. Now, another feature is, let's go ahead and go on Leash, and, of course, Gesture. So let's fully go over those two inside of the application itself. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the Martian application. So as you can see, once you open this application up, it brings you directly to Martian watches. Right now my watch is not connected, but we can go ahead and connect at any time. But really I just want to show you what's included inside of this fairly simple application. And it's not necessarily made for looks, but more like convenience. So as you can see, you have a connect button. When you have connected this via Bluetooth, you can instantaneously click the connect button, and it will allow you to change the settings of your watch. So you can enable or disable the LED. You can also set the vibration intensity. So right now I keep it at 1, since 1 is the quietest and vibration's made to stay quiet, but if you set it to 10, it will like shake the floor. Finally, you can find the watch. So say you lose your watch and it's still connected via Bluetooth, you can click this thing and your watch will play a nice melody. Then of course you can also enable what type of alerts you would like to get. So from here on out you can instantaneously enable or disable Facebook messages, Twitter mentions, calendar alerts, reminders, all of which will be shown in that tiny little box that you get right underneath the watch face itself. You can also configure it so you can see your emails, and finally you can configure how often do you want this thing to sync with your watch. Basically, how often do you want it to send notifications and all that. But be warned that if you do set the sync level higher or lower, then it will have quite the impact on battery levels. Speaking of which, I'm about to die of battery. Then of course we have a status display. So what would you like displayed on there? Would you like a world clock, or would you like your forecast? You can go ahead and mess around with that as well. Finally, we have our setup, which allows us to change a variety of settings, but I'm not really going to go into this, and if you want, you can actually read the directions themselves that come with the watch, and you will be able to figure all that out. On the final page, you actually have help, and from here on out, you can actually register your product, which I highly suggest you do. Underneath that, you have your product manual and frequently asked questions, and finally some video tutorials. At this given time, they don't have a lot of video tutorials, but of course they will be sure to include a lot more in the future, hopefully, because right now they only have 2. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review within a review. If so, you should probably click the like button, subscribe, go ahead and check out their awesome watches. This is not the only watch that they have. They have quite a few other ones, and of course they come in quite a few colors, included for boys and girls, women and men. And overall, this is a really nice and useful watch. If you're looking for a premium type of watch, but you don't necessarily want something that looks too geeky or anything like that, you just want something that looks simplistic, then this is the way to go. It's really simple. It sends out the notifications that you want to see when you want to see them, and of course it just looks nice on your wrist. So those are the main aspects as to why you would get a watch like this. That's basically it for my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, you should probably click the like button and subscribe and do all that other great things. And if you're really interested, go ahead, click the link below and get this watch on your own. Thank you for watching. This is going to be me locking off.